A $1.2 billion Bitcoin whale is about to get liquidated if Bitcoin drops by just 3.5%. In today's video, we'll be going over his recent position. We'll also be talking about the Bitcoin charts and what you should be looking at if we are to continue higher. Otherwise, there is a chance that Bitcoin can go ahead and correct, and I'll show you the facts and all of the charts. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So let's kick us off with this whale. As we can see here, his position is now worth $1.24 billion. Now, this guy is absolutely crazy because Bitcoin would only have to go to $105,000 to liquidate his position. We're currently sitting right below $109,000. This is not a big decrease, about 3.5% to be exact. Now, if we take a look at what he's been doing and what his transactions have been, he recently opened another Bitcoin long after taking profits on some of his previous positions. He had a $10 million profit Pepe long, and he also had an Ethereum long, which he has since closed to consolidate his funds and add back into this massive Bitcoin long. And if we take a look at his current profits, he is sitting at $42 million in profits over the past 30 days. That is quite exceptional. But right now, this position is as risky as can be. This is one of the craziest trades that I have personally tracked, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you how it turns out. Hopefully, if you're a bull here, we can go ahead and pump, and this guy can make a lot of money on this Bitcoin long. If we go to his Twitter account, James Wynn, he talked about how this is a falling wedge, and we could potentially see a big breakout to the upside. I'm a bit skeptical about this, so we'll have to see how it plays out, and I will make sure to keep you updated on the channel. Now, let's get back to the Bitcoin chart. What happened over the past few days? So yes, we did go ahead and make an all-time high right below $112,000. However, we did get a massive daily breakdown below the previous all-time high that we discussed in yesterday's video. Now that previous all-time high sits right around 109.3K to 109.5K, depending on which exchange you use, but ultimately we are below this level and it is starting to act as a little bit of resistance, which is concerning for the bulls. Now, what you want to see here is for us to break back above this level and hold it as support before potentially putting in our next leg higher. However, if we start closing daily candles below the previous high, it will not be looking pretty. And if we look at my cleaned up Bitcoin chart on the 1 hour time frame, we can see that as soon as we came back below this level and tried to retest it, we did get rejected and fell all the way down to around 106.8K. Now this big drop came after Trump talked about imposing 50% tariffs on the EU, and he also discussed the fact that he would potentially be giving 25% tariffs on both Samsung and Apple if they don't produce their devices in the US. So, of course, the market dumped, and after we got a little bit of a bounce around this region, we did test it once again today on a relatively illiquid Saturday, and we did come back down, now currently trying to make another attempt to break above this level. If we can break above here, all is well and things are looking very positive. Bitcoin would likely be putting in another all-time high. However, if we keep on getting rejected at this level, we are likely to move a little bit lower, with the next support level being right around 106.2K. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you know that this is a very, very important support level because previously we were never able to get a daily close above that level, and everything changed as soon as we were able to get those daily confirmations. So once we got the confirmation of around 106.2K, I did flip my bias to being bullish. We went and pumped all the way up to $112,000. And if you're in my free Telegram community, you know that we made a lot of money longing this price action and then going ahead and shorting it as soon as we got that tariff news. Now, sometimes it's very difficult to react to the news in that way and make a lot of profits in a short period of time. But if you have the notifications on, you'll be able to get that news directly from me. Anyways, this is the next level that you want to look at here. 106.2K, only if we cannot manage to break back above 109.5K and hold it as support, because if we do, as I said, it's likely that we go ahead and move higher. This is an all-important level because we got those confirmations above the level as we were never able to do before. And if it were to fall, we would likely be targeting once again $102,000. Now, if we were to go that low, it wouldn't be that severe of a correction for Bitcoin, all things considered. That would just bring us all the way down to, say, around less than a 10% drop to be exact. But as we've been discussing on the channel, if Bitcoin drops even a little bit, because so far it's only been a few percentage drop, if we were to drop even a little bit, altcoins continue to get annihilated. And the proof is in the pudding. As we can see, Bitcoin dominance got that bullish hammer daily close, and now it looks like we're ready to trickle on higher and potentially target what we've been talking about, 66%. Now, back to the Bitcoin chart just quickly. We want to hold this level above the previous all-time high. If we can't, the next level, as I just said, 106.2K. And then if we can't hold that level, we have this key consolidation level, which brings us all the way down to between $102,000 up to around 105K. Now, this level coincides exactly with the liquidation level for this massive Bitcoin whale. So we'll have to see how that develops, but it's crazy the swings. Every 1% price movement in Bitcoin swings this guy's P&L by $10 million. Could you imagine trading with that amount of money? Absolutely insane. Currently, as I'm recording, a negative P&L, $650,000, $700,000, but he has paid almost $5 million in funding on this Bitcoin trade, and he keeps on adding to his positions despite having closed some of those longs in the past. Every single time he closes it, he tries to look for better entries, but ultimately, his average entry price is now sitting right below $109,000. Not the best entry for a Bitcoin long, to be fair. If you want to trade Bitcoin like this whale, or perhaps with a little bit less capital than that, you have the first link in my description down below, which brings you directly to Bluffin. You can get a 15% bonus cashback, and this is up to $5,000 for free straight in your futures account. Now, of course, because it's a 15% deposit bonus, essentially you would have to deposit $33,000 to get this bonus, and it's also limited to the first 50 users. If you deposit a little bit less, you will still get that 50% deposit bonus. For example, if you deposit $10,000 and sign up with the first link in my description down below, you would get $1,500 back for your trading. Read the terms and conditions over here, but so far we still have some slots left, and if you haven't signed up with me on Bluffin, I would highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite crypto exchanges that I have been trading very big positions on, as I showed in my previous videos. I also like trading on weeks, especially with new altcoins, because this exchange is one of the first exchanges to list these many altcoins, and as you know on the channel, we've made a lot of money shorting these new altcoins, especially in a market where Bitcoin continues to outperform everything else. So if you want to have access to the newest altcoins as they come out on the market and trade them with leverage, you have Weeks, which is the second link in my description down below. You can also earn a $400 deposit bonus, and the first 100 users that sign up with the second link in my description down below can essentially get $100 for free towards their trading account, and you can also earn up to $30,000 in rewards. We are getting a little bit more of a dump here, but ultimately, unless we break 106.2K as support on the daily time frame, I'm not that concerned that Bitcoin will be going lower, and I'm not that concerned for the whale's sake that he will be getting liquidated. However, as soon as we break this level over here, I'm very worried for the whale, and I do think that Bitcoin could be moving much lower. Remember, corrections are part of the bull market. And if you've been watching the channel for the past few weeks, I did talk about an excellent long scenario for Bitcoin, and that would be to consolidate above the previous all-time high. Once we get that consolidation, it would have been an excellent time to go long. But so far, if I look at the charts, we still did not get that consolidation, and so I'm very careful trading this. I'm mainly trading on the shorter time frames, and I'm not ready to do an aggressive long targeting much higher. Another chart that I should make you aware of that we will keep tracking on the channel is this one, which essentially links all of the previous tops for Bitcoin. Touching into this cycle, we can see that we're not that far away from this diagonal trend line. Now, if we were to move higher, what you would want to look for is to hopefully not get rejected around this level, but the more we chop around here, the higher this level goes. So it's actually a positive thing in my opinion. That is, of course, if you think that this can actually act as resistance. If we can break above here and hold it as support, that would bring the super cycle theory to life. So let's see what happens. But if we are to just chop around here, this could potentially mean that we make that high towards the end of the year before potentially going into a traditional bear market into 2026. My base case has actually been that the highest Bitcoin point of this cycle will be towards the end of the year. I know a lot of people that are very bullish ahead of the summer, but until we can get those confirmations, I don't actually think that we're going to go super high into the summer. Based on what I've seen on the charts and comparing to past cycles, I think that it's more likely that we go ahead and chop into the summer, and I don't necessarily think that we will be making the top of the cycle this summer, rather towards the end of the year. I will make sure to keep you updated on that. Of course, if Bitcoin goes ahead and can hold above the previous high as support, it does bring the question that Bitcoin can go much, much higher. And actually, this cycle has been front run a little bit, making an all-time high before the halving, which is not normal. So perhaps we can be surprised and have an explosive summer. But currently, it is not my base case. And as we wrap up this video, taking a look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, we can see that we're still getting rejected at the bull market support band. We want to see this metric go up, hold this bull market support band as support, and then move higher for altcoins to really have a sustained chance. Keyword, sustained. Of course, there's going to be some altcoins that outperform here and there, but ultimately, to have a proper altcoin season, I'm saying that we need better monetary policy, and we also need ETH Bitcoin to bounce off its bull market support band. But even if monetary policy stays the same and we can bounce off of here, this would give a lot of relief to altcoins, in my opinion. But so far, as you can see on the chart, it does look like we're potentially trickling on down, and it wouldn't surprise me if we go ahead and maybe make a higher low before getting that big aggressive bounce that everyone is hoping for. And that sums up today's quick video. Our whale is in a $1.2 billion Bitcoin long. And actually, before I let you go, let's take a look at his position. Currently sitting at a $1.5 million loss. These swings are absolutely insane. But anyways, Bitcoin is now back below its previous all-time high, which is not the most positive sign. We want to hold this level as support if there is to be continuation on this massive uptrend. But it does seem like we're getting a little bit of a correction. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And in tomorrow's video, we'll be going over the weekly Bitcoin close and seeing what that can tell us for this upcoming week. See you in tomorrow's video.